We will talk about some endgames in an earlier class if you were here, but today we'll do a little bit more work on the endgames. And the first position I have for you here is, if you look at the position, it's white. White is down a pawn, but he can make a draw here. And the way it works is he can make a draw here if he knows how to do a distant opposition. So we talk about the normal opposition, diagonal opposition we practiced today, and now we're going to talk about the distant opposition, when there is a distance actually between your king and black king and white king. So I want to give you a little bit time to think, maybe a minute or two, and ask you that what is the correct move here to get that distant opposition, because remember, it should be odd number of squares between each king, and there should be some distance here, because unfortunately if we come here to do the regular opposition, it's not going to work, because he goes king d2 and you go king f2 and he goes king to d3, and suddenly he cannot do much. He cannot go here, and if the king moves, king e3 and king g2. If you go king g4, he will get behind the pawn, and this will be already losing because you have to move the king, and if you move the king, he will take the pawn and just promote the pawn into a queen. And if you go here, king e2, if the king goes back, he takes the pawn, and if he goes here, he will accomplish the same idea by going behind the pawn again, and king to g4 and king to f2, and this way now he will push the white king away and pick up the pawn on f3. And once he wins the pawn, it will be quite easy. He will just push the pawn down the line and get a new queen. So that's why in this position we cannot play the move king f1. Okay? So, but what can we do here so we can get that distant opposition here? What do you think is the right move here for that? Yes?
King h1.
King h1, correct. We go king h1, and now we have some distance, right? We have a distance here. There are three different squares now. There's some space, and that's the distant opposition. Okay? Now let's see now how this works. He's going to come forward, and now what do?
King g2.
Don't rush. You got to keep that distant opposition.
King h3.
You got it now. If you go king g2, you lose the opposition because he will just go king to e2. He will get the opposition, okay? King to h2, king to d3. Now, yes?
King h3.
Absolutely. Even though there is a pawn in between, but still, you keep that opposition, okay? Now he goes here. Continue. Again, there.
King g3.
Absolutely. Now he goes back. Yes?
King h2.
Are you sure? Your pawn. I will take your pawn. If you go away from this pawn, I will take it.
King g2.
Absolutely. Now I go here. The test. Yeah, now this is, we started actually.
H1.
Yes.
I thought the king was on g1 at first.
And now I'm going to try something else. So we have already repeated once. Now he's going to play g4, sacrificing a pawn. But if you play the wrong move here, you're going to lose. So now he's giving you the pawn. He says, okay, you can have this pawn. Do we want to take it though?
No.
Question is.
Because the black will promote the queen earlier than we promote the queen.
Very good. And most importantly, he was going to promote the pawn into a queen with the check. Okay? So he pushes, you go here. He pushes, you go here. Push. You're almost there, you know, you're almost there, but not quite. promotes into queen saves check, and then he goes down and stops you from queening, and he wins. Okay? So that's why when he plays g4, we cannot take. We cannot take here. If we take, we're going to lose. So, but we have a good move here. What is the good move here? Yes?
King G2.
Very good. King to g2 now. Coming closer and protecting our pawn. If he now exchanges, we take, of course. And after we take, we're going to come up here on e4 and we're going to pick up that pawn on e5. Okay? King against king, no material left. Yes. That's why. Yeah, that's why he's probably not going to do that. He's going to go here. And now what do we do now? Yes?
King F2.
You could go king f2, but then he actually takes us, and he goes here, and he's going to push, and he's going to promote. Okay? Okay? So that's why now he can actually push the pawn down and going to be able to win. So, but position has changed a little bit. Our king is no longer on the back rank, okay? The king is no longer on the back rank. So that means he's not going to be able to promote the pawn with a check. So maybe it's time to begin the race, yeah? Because he's no longer going to queen. Yes. F takes g4, correct?
But why don't we just play King G3?
Well, it's same idea of we just did. Takes, king g3, he takes. Now you have to take, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes king. Well, if you take, he goes here, no? See, if you could get your king on e4, yes, you could get a draw. But here, you're not going to be able to get there, okay? And then you just push. So what is the correct move now? Okay, what is the correct move here? Let's think. Where king is already, yes. F takes g4. Okay. Now it's a race, yeah? Because 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the difference is he's not going to be able to check anymore because your king moved from the back rank. So he pushes, you push. So both players going to be able to queen. So both players queen, but it's just going to be a draw because there is no way black can win the queen here. Okay? So that's why it's a draw. Okay? So this is the only way, actually, in this position, the move that you play here, the move king h1, it's not a natural move here. It's a bit odd move here you play. You kind of move the king further away, but that's the only way for you to accomplish that opposition, to move that away. Okay, let's try to look at this position here. Let's try to understand what's happening now. Okay, it's white to play in this position, and you need to win this game. And for the moment, it looks like it shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, we have a rook. The knight is hanging. We can just take the knight, and then we're up a rook. Can we take the knight? Is that a good idea?
No.
Why? Why it's not a good idea? Yes, go ahead. Because it will be a stalemate, right? So you take the knight. See, this happens a lot. Players think, oh, it's a free piece. They take, and then, wait a minute, stalemate. So this makes the task difficult. You have a question?
Wait, you can't do that anyway because of the pawn.
No, well, black is going this way.
Oh, that's right.
White is going this way. Remember, the way you determine who is going which way is always looking at the letters. Okay? If it's 1 and 2, white is going that way. 7 and 8, black is going the other way. Okay? So don't rush. Okay? Don't rush. We had some other examples today when players rushed to make a move and suddenly it was stalemate. You saw that. So we have to make sure we don't stalemate in a winning position. But on the other hand, it looks like what to do. We have to move the rook, but if we move the rook away, he takes our last pawn, and this is a draw, theoretical draw, because a lone rook and king versus a king and knight, it's a draw. And black still has a pawn here. It's not going to play a big role, this pawn, but it's basically a draw anyway. Okay? So if you move your rook, he's going to take your pawn, and it's going to be a draw. Okay? So that's why you don't want to do that. It's a very difficult move here. Very difficult move that you need to find here, and then you're going to be able to get the winning position. Yes?
Is that king to c6?
But then I also want to take your rook. I'm not only threatening here, I'm also threatening to take your rook.
Does that require white a win or a draw?
No, we want to win for white. Well, draw it's quite easy. You can just take the knight and it's stalemate. So you can get a draw that way too. But we want to win. And then you're going to take here, and he's going to sacrifice his knight, and then you have to agree to a draw. You think you know this one? This is quite advanced. Quite advanced position here. Okay, let's go. Try.
Rook a8 check.
Rook a8 check. Oh, very interesting. When you do this move, you have to calculate, yeah? Because you cannot just make this move. You have to calculate the consequences. What's going to happen in the king and pawn endgame after we do this? Okay? So now it says rook a8 check. First, let's take a look what's going to happen if I take with a knight. Because it looks like I can do that. It's okay. It's okay, but you still got the first move, okay? You got the correct idea. So, now, knight takes rook. And for a moment, it looks like we're down a whole knight. How we can even possibly think about winning here? But it's a very concrete position now. What can you do here? His king is boxed in. It's kind of trapped in that corner, right? So what can we do to make him more, so he cannot go anywhere? To take away some more squares from him. More hands, yeah? Yes? Wait. King c8. Excellent job. King c8, correct. Now. Very good. Knight is trapped. King is trapped. Pawn is trapped. So he has only one legal move here. So if, let's say, just to show you, if we had, let's say if we had this here, and it's black to play, what is this? Stalemate. Always remember about stalemates, yeah? Because you can win and draw many games, you know, if you know what is the stalemate. Huh? Well, he did already. Well, king, he took with a knight. Okay, now, but now, he has only one move, right? He goes here.
And capture.
Capture, of course. Now he goes here. And now we capture. And he has the opposition. But now, what is the correct square? Remember, in the previous lecture we got this position via different order. But how we get here? How we play the right move now to make sure that no stalemates will happen in this game? No stalemates. King a6. Very good. Leave the door open for the king so he can go away from there, okay? You want him to go away. Now, if he goes here, you simply go king a7, and you push, push, and you queen. Okay? So he will play here, king to a8, and now, yes?
Pawn d6.
Absolutely. Push. When you have a pass pawn, you want to push. Of course, you have to calculate, but now, main idea is to push, yes? Pawn b7. King c7. And now, k7, and you promote the pawn into a queen. Okay? Okay? And you promote into a queen. Okay. I mean, you queen and then you will win. Okay, so that's one way how the game can develop. Now, there is another very important detail here. Now, if he takes with the king, it leads to a same position. We just take the knight. He will come forward. We will go here.
Oh, yeah.
Goes here, and same exact position. We play king a6, and we win.
That's the way that I thought. That's the way that I.
But the question is now, what's going to happen if I am not taking your rook? If I see that I'm going to lose if I take, and I decided to go king to b7, not taking it. There's only one move can help you to win this. If you don't play this move, you're not going to be able to win this. What is the move here? Yes.
Rook to a7 check.
Correct. Excellent job. Rook to a7 check. You continuously sacrifice that rook now for the second move. You want to get that to that king and pawn endgame, okay? He has to take now, no choice.
But how about king b8?
Yeah, but okay then. It's not a stalemate, yeah? He's got a square here.
Take the rook with the pawn. Because it's black pawn.
Oh, it's going this way, the pawn. Oh, it's going this way, remember? 7, 8, going this way, down. 1, 2, going this way up. Okay, so I take, if I go here, yeah, again, if this square was taken by some other piece, there would be a stalemate, but it's not. So he will just take, and king takes c7, and we reach the same position. Okay? Okay, so that's how you win this position. It looks, in the beginning, it looks quite easy. You know, the knight is hanging, we have extra rook, but the only way we can win here, we have to play rook a8, and we have to find the move rook a7. 2 moves in a row, we have to sacrifice our rook to win it. Check, here, and we go check. Okay? Okay, very good. Next position now for you. Okay, anybody familiar with this position? This is a very famous position. You might have seen this in some books and quite.
Win or draw?
Okay, you need to find a way to win here for white, and you want to do that in only 2 moves. If you do it in 3 moves, not good.
Yeah.
White to play checkmate in 2. White to play checkmate, you think about it a little bit. It's a very nice first move. After you find the first move, the rest will be easier. Because black doesn't have too many moves here. Okay, let's see. We have a couple of hands here. Are you sure? Okay, go ahead.
Rook to a7.
Rook to a7, but Here? He takes.
You get a sacrifice.
But what do you get now if he takes you?
Oh, yeah.
With the pawn.
I know, but it's already 2 moves, but not checkmate. Not quite. Not quite. Close, but then he can push actually. So you came close, but the bishop is there, you know? Came close, but the bishop is there, and the bishop is doing a good job, okay? Now, see, the king is sort of in the box here. If we can find a way to check him without losing that piece or a pawn, it will be a mate. But it takes a very special move here to accomplish that. Yes?
Rook A6.
Rook A6. Excellent move.
Oh.
Now, there are 2 options here.
Move the bishop.
Take the rook or move the bishop.
Move the bishop.
If he takes, because he doesn't have any other moves, he cannot move the pawn, or he cannot move the king. So he can only do that, move the bishop or take. So if he takes now,
Checkmate.
what do you do? Yes?
Pawn, 2, 3.
Very nice. Checkmate. See? King is boxed in, cannot go anywhere. And if he moves the bishop anywhere here, he is
Still checkmate.
no longer protecting.
The checkmate.
Can checkmate, yeah? How? Rook takes a7 because he's no longer protecting it. You just go rook takes a7 and it's going to be a checkmate. Okay? So you go rook a6. If the bishop moves, you go rook a7, okay? So this is a very famous position. I want you to memorize this, okay? Because you will come across this position in some other books as well. That's the only way is to go here to be able to win quickly. This position is looks like it's going to be a draw because equal amount of material on the board. On top of that, opposite color bishops. Opposite color bishop means if it's equal material, it's very unlikely one of the sides is going to win.
Because if you take the other bishop, it's still going to be a draw. Or kind of without the pawns.
Yeah, without the pawns. In here, the problem is only 1 pawn left on the board. Opposite color bishop. So it looks so drawish here. But the only thing we have is just the bishop here is placed badly here on b8. Bishop is placed badly here on b8. So the first move is, so his king doesn't escape now. What do we do? The first move, yes.
Bishop to c2.
Correct. Bishop c2 check, not allowing to come in, not allowing white to come in here, and other squares are taken. So that's one. Let's keep going. Next move here. Further, we gotta further push him back here. How are we gonna push him back to that square here? Yes?
Pawn to b3.
1 or 2? Think. We want to push him back, right? If we don't check him, he's not gonna go back. So we need b4. Correct. 2. Continue. Now, it's not about just check, check, check. Now we need a move that will control a very important square that he's trying to escape to. And if he goes there, he's going to be able to hold this. So you want to control that important square with one of your pieces to be able to stop him from going there. So what is the idea here? To control that square.
Bishop e4.
Close. Close, but better. See, black will be happy to even sacrifice his pawn.
c6.
Perfect. Blocking the pawn, blocking that bishop. If that bishop comes out and you cannot checkmate, it's going to be a draw. So you got to keep that bishop blocked. If a bishop comes out somehow, it's going to be a draw. The question is now, what about if he plays this move? Looks like he can come out, right? But if he does that, do you see it? Everybody should see it now. Everybody looking? Everybody, I'm going to give you a little time here. Everybody should be looking and raise, because it's right there now. Mate in 1. Good. Many hands. You have it? Okay, let's see. I think you know it, but let's see. Okay.
Bishop D3 checkmate.
Correct. Bishop d3 checkmate. Yes.
Not to B5 and then he can escape.
Not to b5. If you go to b5, he escapes. You go to b5, he escapes. Not going to work, okay? So, that's why he cannot play here. That's why he cannot play bishop to a7. Now, he goes back here, king to a7. Now, we need to control now. Control the square so he cannot come here. How can we control it? So he cannot bring the king here again. Which move we need to play here? Very important move. We have a few ways to do it, but what's the best way to control here? Yes?
Bishop D3.
That's a fine move. You can do that. What is the other option you have?
Pawn B5.
I like that a little better, okay? Little better. Uh-huh. This is better. You'll see why. A little later. Now, how many moves he has? Does he have many moves here? 1 legal move he has. And that's good. When you control all the squares an opponent has, it's good. It's good. Now, he goes here. Now we have his king where we want him to be. We cannot checkmate immediately. It's going to take a little time. Checkmate in 4 from now. Let's see who can find it. Checkmate in 4. We have to make sure he cannot escape, yeah? So checkmate in 4 here. Improve your pieces. Now, which piece we can improve here? Let's look at that way. Instead of just looking for the mate, let's look for improving the pieces. When we do that, then we can find more ideas. Yes?
Pawn B6.
That's our idea, but not right away. Improve one of your pieces. It's not very active, that piece here. Improve first and keep that b6 idea in mind, because you're going to use that. But in just 2 moves, not right now. Yes?
Bishop to E4.
Correct. Bishop e4. Centralizing. When you put a piece on a square like that, that's called centralizing your pieces, okay? Centralization. It's a very important idea to remember. 2 legal moves he can play, right? He's going to go here, because if he goes here, this legal move leads into...
Checkmate.
How?
I can take. Discover checkmate.
Okay, good. Very good. So he's going to go here. And now we have a good position. Now we need a waiting move here. We want to have the same position like this, but waiting move here. Because after that waiting move, he will have to go back, and that's where we want him to be. So another thing that for you to learn today is just remember the waiting move idea. The waiting move idea that we use in endgames. Yes?
Like, wouldn't it be king C5?
Not quite. That changes things.
It's gonna be
And remember, you gotta keep it locked, yeah? You king c5, I push c6, and it's freedom. Freedom for my bishop.
But then it's gonna checkmate. I mean, stalemate. Still have stalemate.
Not stalemate. It's gonna be freedom and then draw. If you let this bishop come out, even if he loses the pawn, it's gonna be a draw. So you kind of have to keep him in that box.
Bishop H1.
Okay, bishop h1 or bishop d5, yeah?
On the diagonal.
Anywhere on this diagonal. Let's do it this way. Keep it closer, yeah? Keep it closer, more consolidation when they're protecting each other. Bishop d5. Bishop h1 is fine too. How many moves he has now? 1, right? 1 move. He goes here, And now we are ready. Now we are ready to play which move?
King to D7.
Close. But then he can come up, or he can push the pawn. You give him some options. You're close here.
B6.
Absolutely b6. Now,
Because after take.
two legal moves again. If he goes here now, time to checkmate. Checkmate. And if he takes here now, what do we do? Everybody see it now, right? The move. Take it. King takes b6, checkmate. See? From an equal looking position now, opposite color, we reach the final position. This should be your final position where we capture on b6 and say checkmate. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at this position. Since we did one opposite color, I want to show you another one with that sort of staying on that theme of opposite color bishops. When you have a light square bishop, he has dark, that's opposite color bishop. It's very, very drawish, okay? And you'll see another example here. White is up 2 healthy pawns here. And in other endgames, this should be a guaranteed win. If it's knights, rooks, queen, bishops, bishop same color, this is a guaranteed win. But with opposite color bishop, it's a draw. And I will show you how to make a draw in this position. Okay?
For black?
Black will draw this, yes. So, you want to try the move or you have a question?
I'll try to move white.
White?
Let me see where can white.
Well, white can only win this if he starts pushing his pawns. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
If you don't push your e-pawn, you're not going to win this. So he pushes. And now, very important moment here. He wants to give you a check. And you cannot allow that to happen. Okay? If you know this rule, how to defend, you will draw this against any player. Doesn't matter how strong your opponent is. There are no tricks that your opponent can do in this position to win. Even if you play a very, very strong opponent, if you know how to get the right setup with your king and a bishop, you will hold this. Okay? And now, you play the move bishop to f6. Very important. When opponent has passed pawns, you don't want to defend. Protect it from the back, from the side. All these ideas will fail and you will lose. The only way you can hold a position like this, if you attack him from the front. Okay? You attack him from the front. That's the only way for you to win this. And now you're going to attack on d4. You go bishop f6. But it looks like, wait a minute, what about e5? He can just fork, yeah? He goes e5, forking you and winning your bishop. But if he does that, what do you do? To simplify this position, what will you do here? Yes?
Bishop e5.
You will sacrifice your bishop for a pawn. He will take back. King takes back. And you reach this position, which I mentioned today. If you have a king and a minor piece, no pawns, no other pieces, versus a king, you cannot win. You will need another pawn or a piece to help your bishop to win here, or a knight. Okay? So you cannot just win with one piece. You need more help. And then you can win this. But here it's a draw. Now, and let's take a look and see. Maybe he will realize that, wait, if I push e5, he's going to sacrifice the bishop. And let's say he plays d5. But after he plays d5, immediately it will be a draw, because you will put your bishop here. And what do we call this in chess? A position like this where you have, what do we call this? This is called blockade. Okay? Blockade. You've heard of it before?
Yeah.
Blockade. Yeah? So the pawns are blockaded. Yeah? He cannot go anywhere. He cannot push this one. King is blocking here. And here, With the opposite color bishops, he cannot make any progress because there is no way for him to push your king or a bishop away. Remove the blockade. No way for him to do that. So that's why he cannot do anything. So it's going to be a draw.